This should be probably the part where we just go ahead and roll the open.
We should.
Let's go.
And we're back.
We're back. Oh, we had to do it for old time's sakes. Back with another episode of the Dark Six Show here at F3 Nation. As you can see, and I was told there'd be no math. Yes, there are 5 of us on this night. Carmen Sandiego has an excused absence. And luckily, we're taking no votes on the floor today, so we should be fine. And you men are saddled up here for another episode. So we're talking conversations and culture of the F3 Nation. I'm Hello Kitty. I got Gobbler, GMO, Bing, and Dark Helmet with me on this day. My brothers, how we doing?
Great.
Hey.
Never better. Woke up breathing this morning, so that's always a good start to the day.
Well, that's good. It would, yes, the opposite way would not have been great start to the day. We're good.
It's tough to wake up not breathing.
Totally.
Just saying.
Totally. Helmet, how you feeling?
Top shelf.
Nice.
Top shelf.
Nice. It is VQ week in the home region this week in Carpex. So it's like a super exciting week, right? You got all these guys ringing that second bell for the first time. So I'm a little more energized leaving the workout. I love the oldies, but the goodies, right? Love the veterans. But man, to see the guys step up for the first time. My man Antique, the guy done a grow ruck for crying out loud. He hadn't led a workout yet. I'm like, what are you doing, man? And he let it.
So, some men are manlier than others. Just saying.
Antique. So that's good. Hope you guys are well. Holy smokes. I am noticing a rather seismic uptick in attention toward the nation, and not just in regional growth, but social media, podcast. Obviously, the reach is just, man, kind of going through the roof right now. And this past weekend, as we sit here and record this on a Tuesday evening, and you guys will be able to watch this at the end of the week when we put out in the newsletter. Just this past weekend, we were on a pretty sizable TV spot with our man Dan Ball. And
yes,
you were a big part of the recording of that when you guys went to Houston. So tell us a little bit about what that was like. And man, I mean, we're gonna get some eyeballs on this thing, I think.
Yeah. So, and I'll go ahead and just tell the sort of the high level story too of kind of how it came to be. Mm-hmm. And that is, so Dan Ball, news anchor, and he was going to be in town. He has his own production company. So he works for a network, but he also has his own production company. And his production company, he started doing this show called Hungry Heroes, where he highlights, first responders, military veterans, and other folks who are, who he considers to be heroes that are doing good things in the community. And so he happened to be in town in Houston, Texas. Is there another Houston?
I think it's the only one. Yeah.
Oh,
if not,
we're not there.
The other ones are garbage. I'll just say that.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so he's in Houston for a thing for Dan Crenshaw, who is, as we all know, the one of the representatives from congressional representatives from the Texas, the great state of Texas, in that Houston. I say, and who has shown up at a workout. They named him Stickler because he was really ragging on guys about their crappy form, which really, as the president of F3, is embarrassing. Have better form. Okay. Have better form.
Leave it. Yeah.
Especially when Dan Crenshaw's around.
Yeah. Especially when famous people are showing up. Anyway, so he shows up, he gets the name Stickler, blah, blah, blah. Life goes on. Dan Ball, who is this anchor, is going to an event in Houston for Crenshaw, a youth summit. And so he calls Crenshaw and he says, hey, while I'm here, I think I might do an episode of this Hungry Heroes. I'm looking for military, former military or whatever, guys that are just doing good things in the community. And Crenshaw says, you should call F3.
It's awesome.
How about that business?
It's awesome.
How about that? And by the way, we're working pretty hard to get old Crenshaw on the 43, and it looks like it may happen.
Nice.
Just saying.
Yes, sir.
But anyhow, so Crenshaw says go, Ball calls, and so we were able to do an episode of this Hungry Heroes show. And it's it's a national network, and it's kind of I will say I just watched it today. We had seen kind of a preview of it, and I watched the whole thing today, and it was I don't know how it could have been much more positive toward F3 and what's going on. In fact, Dan Ball, who as a news anchor, you'll see, oh, spoiler alert, he gets named Blitzer for Wolf Blitzer. But he's already yeah, right. But he's already contacted us about getting involved in San Diego, where he is located. So
yeah. So it aired this weekend on a couple networks, one of which is a network called OAN. It's also going to be on a streaming service called Rumble. It'll probably end up on a couple different internet places, right? You expect at some point it's on YouTube. And,
yep. Well, they're also turning it over to us. We're going to be able to stick it out on our YouTube channel and so that kind of stuff too. So that's kind of cool.
This is one of those deals, right? Where it's like, a reporter comes to us, by the way, by a man that we were excited to know that F3 was still sort of top of his mind. Asked to do the piece on us. Obviously we jumped on it. And hopefully more people seeing it, and maybe it brings us into more avenues. Maybe more networks come calling and want to highlight what we're doing. What's cool about the show is it's kind of like the Food Network meets Travel Channel. When you guys see it, you'll know exactly what I mean by saying that. And it's a really neat piece. And the fact that he wanted to consider us heroes in this local community, I'm like, of course we are. We've saved men's lives across this great country.
It's very true. I mean, obviously part of the angle was the fact that, Dredd is former Green Beret and all that kind of stuff.
1,000%.
Oh my gosh. You should have seen it in person. Like you saw the edited version. Holy moly.
Oh yeah, babe. Oh yeah. He went
so good. Yeah, so good. But yeah. So, we bring that up, Kitty, but you bring it up for a reason.
Yeah, I do. And part of it is this constant tension and rub from the positions that we sit, right? And what we've been tasked with doing, from organizing the nation, from communicating across the nation, from expanding the nation, from ensuring that there is synergy and connectivity across, and looking in your direction, GMO, right? Then also providing vision, guidance, managing this thing that you have to helmet is to be prepared for what could be rather rapid expansion. And with that, prepared for influxes of media attention, positive and negative, influxes of new PACs, influxes of all the things that we know could push the 5 core principles, and why we've got to continue to be strong and be prepared.
Yeah, I think too, when you see the video, right, the expose that is going to launch, right, you see some promises of a great fitness workout, great fellowship, and doing great things in the community. So when guys start to Google F3 Nation, are the maps up to date? Can they find a workout location? Is it accurate? And then when they show up, do they receive what we promised, what they saw, which was life-changing, right? And we've all experienced it. So are these Nantans, are the regions, are the PACs, are they ready for someone just to walk literally into the AO out of the gloom, out of his gloom? And are they going to welcome him? Are they going to pick up the 6? Are they going to not be cliquish about who they are and how they work out? So it's just, like you said, a lot of preparedness that we got to get ready for here. It's exciting.
And we've been, that's a really good point, Gmo. And we've been working pretty hard to be prepared, to kind of say, hey, we think this is happening. The train's coming. It's hard when you start thinking about 250,000 guys here in a couple of years, right? Because 250,000 to most of us, when we think of people, like it's kind of a number that doesn't even make sense at some level. Like I can kind of get my head around like 50, 60,000 in a football stadium, maybe. Right. And I kind of get, but 5 times that is hard to sort of, picture. So it becomes sort of an intellectual exercise of, oh yeah, a lot of guys are coming. It's going to be really big, and I mean, the first request for growth and expansion came within 10 minutes of the beginning of the episode, I think, or maybe it was the ending of the episode.
The end of the episode, yeah.
Yeah, it was the end of the episode. Like, within 10 minutes, guys are like, that sounds amazing.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Right. And we've talked about it. The mission that we have is so important. It's so it's going to be very far reaching. And it's one of these things where, it's wonderful for us to say, oh yeah, 5 core principles, I'm all in, and for us to say, oh yeah, we're open to all men. But I heard somebody on one of these clips, a YouTube clip or something that somebody sent me a while ago. It was like, it's great to quote scripture, but it's a whole other deal when you have to live it.
Yeah.
And we are rapidly approaching this point where we've said, oh yeah, we're ready, man. We're going to keep them outdoors. We're going to, a lot of people are saying like, can't we do these indoors? And you're going to have to hold the line. You're going to have to hold the middle. And they're going to say, well, all men? Yeah. I don't know how to be more clear about that one. Like all. Well, I mean, I know we said free, but like, we mean like kind of free, right? Like if I just grabbed $5 from everybody who showed up, like we could have a lot of operating capital.
No.
I'll kill you. I will travel to your AO and I will murder you. Right. Maybe we should cut that. Right?
Metaphorically speaking, obviously,
right.
Obviously, my
like,
friend is speaking. Yep.
But I am going to, I mean, and we don't want to get officious and all up in your business and whatnot from a national standpoint. But I promise,
Oh, you start catching wind of that one. Yeah.
Well, sure. But my point is that the challenges are going to come. We got a half a dozen, oh, is this going to be a safe place for me? Because I'm, I live a certain, whatever way. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And varying different things in there. Right. Well, I weigh 500 pounds. I'm homosexual. I'm Muslim. Isn't this just a white Christian group and
sure.
all this kind of stuff? And you and I know that hopefully Nantan's watched this and Sector Q's and whatever, all of us, the six of us, five, I guess Carm's exempt because he didn't hear it. I don't know. But the leadership of this nation is going to have to hold the line. We're going to have to say it with love, but we're going to have to be clear. We cannot flinch. If we are going to be flinching, then we need to remove ourselves because it's just not something that we can do. We're not going to say go do something beyond the 5 core principles, but I promise that's where they're going to challenge. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be attacks even.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you not be open to women? How dare you, whatever, right? And we're just going to have to keep saying the same things over and over and over again in love. I mean, I don't know another way to handle it.
Yeah.
I think, Dark Helmet, you made a point of Nantans and sectors, but for me, what I love about this podcast is it launches to all the PACs that have signed up for the newsletter. Mm-hmm. So this really is a message to the PACs and the site Qs, because those guys are on the front lines and will be there to welcome and spread the culture. So
those guys, they are the culture of F3 Nation.
Yeah.
Right? We're not here to dictate what it is. We're here to drive home the important pieces of it, right? But they are, that's a challenge to every guy that's watching this is you're a part of this, right? You're a part of this thing that's bigger than all of us, right? And we're not, we take no credit for it. We're here to be a part of moving it forward because it means so much to us and we're all willing to put so much time into it. But the challenge of the guys watching is, so what are you going to do when it comes to your AO, to your region? Are you ready? Are you prepared to stand up? Are you strong enough in the belief that this thing should be free for all men, right? That it should always be outside, that should always be peer-led, which means we're promoting the next leader. And that before you hop in your car and you go, you have that moment of real vulnerability with these guys. Yeah. One of the things that I hate seeing the most is these regions where it's like, well, we were over time, so we just wrapped it up and we just rolled out.
Yeah.
Like, no way, man. That one drives me just as nuts as the free thing does on some other things. That thing drives me to the wall.
What is it?
Because I know how important that circle is. And when I see my dad, retired 3-star general, stand in that circle and say, I have not seen this level of camaraderie since I left a fighter squadron, then I know how freaking important that circle is. When I've seen him trade, he still wears his Air Force gear, right? He still wears his squadron t-shirts. When I've seen him add equal amounts of F3 shirts into the rotation with his squadron shirts, I know how important it is. I know how much it means, right? And it's fresh for me because I just saw him speak to our guys before a CSOP this weekend, right? But when I see a man like that lean into an organization like this, that's how important I know that this thing is. And that's how generationally impactful I know that this thing can be.
Can you second that? Go ahead, Bing.
Okay. Yeah, I think one thing that's really important to just reiterate here, though, is think about how you're going to welcome new PACs into your region. Think about how you're going to help us launch some of these regions, because a couple of the requests that we got this weekend were fairly remote areas. It's going to be difficult to reach into some of these areas, and some of these guys aren't asking to launch. They realize they need to learn a lot about F3 before they do, but think about how you're going to welcome that person. Because even I find when I'm speaking with someone who's never done F3 before, and you start slipping into the jargon, even as simple as side straddle hops and merkins, you all of a sudden get blank stares. And I realize, and Dredd says it beautifully in the segment with Hungry Heroes. He's like, if you don't know what I'm doing, just watch and follow me and do what I do. And we do that in the workouts. But who are you assigning in the workout to shadow that guy? Who are you asking to be the sweeper if, in fact, that guy's the six? But how are you truly embracing these people? And then more importantly, when that FNG leaves, what's your method in getting in touch with that guy afterwards? Because it happens way too often. You know, you may have brought a friend, you EH'd a friend, it's easy. But a guy that just shows up off the street because he watched a TV show, who's going to follow up with that guy?
And there's going to be more and more and more of those than we think.
And what if, and test yourself. What if he looks a little different? What if he sounds a little different?
Yep.
A little socially awkward. Right? What if all those things? Then be the one who reaches.
Yeah.
Be the one who reaches.
Gob had something he was going to say about
there's a
camaraderie.
things. So one, hello, Kitty. I want to second that. I queued. I was out of town for a couple of weeks up here because I was traveling back east at the 10 year and hit a couple of workouts back east. But I queued on Saturday in Tacoma, and I stopped the workout, 5-10 minutes early, and I said, "Hey guys, we're gonna do a circle of trust. Let's sit down and let's talk. Everyone gets a chance to share now, right? And you know what? I knew when everyone was done because they stood up. I was like, okay, we're done. Like it wasn't complicated, right?
Yeah.
Guys will tell you when they're done, and it's okay to stop a few minutes early and say, hey, we're going to take this workout right now. We're going to put a priority on the circle of trust, and then to Bing, what you were talking about, having preparation and like having a way to capture, FNGs. And I had a leader once tell me, good organizations do routine things routinely. And so you accomplish that by having processes known by everyone, right? So, I want to encourage, I guarantee you there's probably site queues who have never gone to the website to make sure that the geographic point matches where they meet. It doesn't take long. If a site queue changes every year, it's very easy for a site queue to just drift, the actual shovel flag to drift a half a mile. It's really not, not if you have a big park, it's really not that hard. And
especially if you're in Cape Fear with all the tidal poles and all that.
Exactly. So I would encourage the weasel shakers and site queues, have some processes or some handover procedures that, like, hey, if you're a site queue, one of the first things you do is make sure that where you're planting the shuffle flag still matches the point on the map. You go, well, it's 100 meters away. 100 meters can be a lot at 5:30 in the morning.
In the dark. Yep.
In the dark. And I've done it. I'm sure we've all posted places, and when I came across the country, I did it just now. You show up in the dark and you're like, man, I'm not sure.
I hope this is the spot. Yeah.
Exactly. Same thing with a weasel shaker, man. If you're a weasel shaker and you're not checking your points, take the time, check make sure that if an AO is still active, that you show up, see if it's still active. Sometimes it's easy, just like we let guys slip through the cracks, we can let our information slip through the cracks. And the last thing we want is for Bing to get an email, hey man, I showed up and nobody was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've shown up and the guys are stretching a little bit and they say, let's go. I'm like, wait a minute, where's the disclaimer? If an FNG shows up and he's not hearing where modify as needed, push yourself, don't hurt yourself. That's an important message for that guy to hear the first time that he shows up too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How much time we got, Kitty?
I was going to say, if you got something to add to it, let's do it. And then we'll roll out of here. But what are you feeling?
Because I got to tell you, you got me fired up again.
Go ahead.
And,
Come on.
But I'm telling you, it's to me, this whole thing really comes down to belief. And what do you believe about why we're here and what we're doing? And if this is a workout group to you, that's awesome. And I hope it makes you a better man. I do, sincerely. And if you believe that this is a beer drinking group, because you hang out with your buddies or whatever, that's awesome. And I hope it makes you a better man. My hope is, though, that over time, you start to recognize that we're an impact group. We're a leadership group, and not just to train leaders, but to go and be them.
That's right.
And we are we are at that point where the rubber is about to meet the road in a very real way. And my fear is that I haven't done enough to prepare everybody. That really is. That's my fear, is that I've tried and I've listened to you guys because you're a hell of a lot smarter than I am. And we've tried to think ahead and to look forward and say, this is what we're expecting and this is what we think is going to happen. And gosh, we're putting this infrastructure in place and we really hope that it sticks, but it's about to be tested and we're going to fail. It's going to break somewhere. It won't work how we intended it. And that's okay. We'll figure that out. You can't break F3 at this point. There's no hope of doing that in my mind. We're rolling forth and that's just the way it's going to be. But I'm not worried about the organization as much as I am worried about the individual men.
Yeah.
And what I will not sleep well with, because look, I told somebody this the other day when he was would tell me how woke I was because I'm such a bad leader and all this kind of stuff. Because I said all men and I was pushing all men, and he was like, yeah, but not these kind of men. They don't even deserve rights in our country. And I was like, okay, sounds great, man. Thanks. Appreciate you. Okay. And I said, well, that's fine. Maybe I am a horrible leader and maybe I'll lead this thing into the dirt. And you know what? Someone will come right behind me and start it over again. From the ashes, we will rise. It's irrelevant. The organization cannot be stopped because it has no leaders. It has no one leader. It has all leaders, right? It has all leaders. That's right. Yep. But we've been quoting scripture for 10 years, and now we're going to find out if we're really ready. We've been tested a little bit in different places, but just some things we were talking about even before we started recording. Our national profile, I don't think we really understand what that means. I've been saying it for a while, but I don't think we really have a real sense
a real thing.
Of what that means when somebody decides that we need to show up on the local news and it's how we're a hate group or how we're this or how we're that. How are we going to handle that? Now, the national stuff, I'll handle. That's fine. I got no problem there. But men, it's going to come to your town, and everything good that we do, we know is going to be attacked by someone. It has to. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth it. Right? I mean,
that's right.
If it was making everybody happy, then it's a piece of crap and we should get rid of it.
Everybody would do it.
Yeah.
Dark, you were talking about national profile, and something stuck in me today. I was at Hobby Lobby with the wife, and
we noticed you knitting there.
Fine yarn, so you can
hashtag open to all men.
It's fine. Anyways, and I was in uniform because I'd actually went into work today, which is uncommon right now, but I did. I went into work, and so, but this happens when I'm in uniform. I will get stopped by a complete stranger. I don't know who she was. She just said, thank you for your service. It happens. I'm relatively used to it, but it started to, think most guys don't understand what it's like to be judged or people to draw a conclusion, in this case, positively for me, by something that you're wearing.
Well, this time, right? But let's talk about the national profile. Most of us are wearing F3 gear of some sort. I've worn a Grow Ruck shirt and they'll ask me what Grow Ruck is, because they don't understand what the word ruck is. And there's going to come to a time where F3 is going to be ubiquitous enough that when you walk to the airport, people are going to be like, oh, I know what that guy stands for.
Yeah. I do it now where I'm looking around. I'm like, is anybody else?
I do too.
I do it too, but I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so I'm 0 for 1,000. Okay.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
I recognize that in Charlotte, I was listening to the Checkpoint roundtable because I'm woefully behind on my content traveling. And he was talking about, everybody in Charlotte knows about F3.
He says that, but there's still guys.
But that's not, eventually it's going to be St. Louis. It's going to be the Suncoast. It's going to be everywhere that a lot more people are going to be like, oh, I've heard of F3. I've seen it. Or my brother does it or something like that. And that's coming. And the question is, we build that. Now, people are going to say, oh, I know what you stand for based upon our actions today.
Yeah. And they're going to make assumptions and all that kind of stuff. And my hope is that, I remember I told this podcast or a story on the podcast a long time ago about, I saw somebody stopped on the side of the road.
Yep,
I pulled over
example.
And they said, and it was 2 African-American ladies, one of them a little bit older, and one kind of more or less my age-ish. And, who knows in our world, who knows what I was stopping for? But she jumped out of the car and ran up to me and she was like, I saw your F3 sticker and I knew I'd be safe and I knew you would help.
I've heard
That
that
doesn't have
4
anything to do with
times
me.
and it gets me every time.
You never met him before, so you didn't do anything.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about, is if someone's going to show up and if they can have that as the impression, fantastic. If the impression that they have is, I don't know, I'm a transgender man, or I'm a homosexual man, or I'm a black man, or I'm a Muslim man, or I'm a fat man, or I'm a whatever. If they show up and the impression that they have when they leave is not, I knew I'd be safe and I knew that you'd help. If it's, those guys were kind of macho a-holes.
What are we doing?
I mean, look,
Yeah.
what are we going to revoke your charter for the membership dues you're not paying us? Like what?
Right.
But is that the legacy you want to leave? It's
And
not
that's
the legacy
you,
I
you,
wanna leave.
stepped when you stepped away for a second. That's why I said the challenge of the men watching this is you're an extension of that. You're part of that. You are the front line of that. You're the one. They're not coming to a workout and seeing it. We're just 5 dudes. We're such a small percentage of this whole thing. They're going to run across all you guys before they ever even talk to us. It's not about us, right? You're the ones that are there. You're the ones that are going to greet them with open hand, right? You're the ones who have to say, send me, as these things become obstacles, challenges, opportunities in the future. Are you willing to do it? I know you are.
I had a guy post this Saturday. He worked Friday night and this Saturday. He still posted.
Yeah.
He didn't do it because his reasons for doing it had to go beyond just the work.
All right, gentlemen, we could do this all night. We got to wrap it up. This has been a long episode, but a good one at that, but important. And man, just so grateful for you guys. Keep crushing your weeks. All right, boys.
Let's go.
Bird.
All right,
Good.
guys. Thanks
Yeah.
for always picking up our 6. I'll tell you what, we might not be perfect. We'll always do the best to get yours. We'll see you guys later.